Hello, my name is An Lao Shi, also known as Miss Kubasek, and I will be teaching this year's Chinese 8th grade language arts. All right, now let me tell you a little bit about myself, and forgive me if you saw the same exact presentation last year through the social studies class. I'll speak a little quicker this year, but I have been teaching for more than 10 years. I have kind of a big range of my teaching experience. I taught multiple disciplines. I taught for 6 years in China teaching ESL, and I taught 1 year at American Culture and History course at Zhejiang University. I taught 4 years of Chinese, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the high school level in New Jersey. I also taught 1 year at the University of Madison, Wisconsin in their continuing education department. I taught Chinese there. I do have a master's degree in Chinese literature and cultural history from the University of Madison, Wisconsin, and I have 2 children, one who is currently in the Chinese immersion program at Scenic Heights. All right, now enough about myself. Let's talk more about the classroom rules and procedures. So they're very similar to last year's in our social studies class. Main points is that we want to be using Chinese in the classroom as much as we can. Chinglish is acceptable only when it's one word here or there that we don't know how to say, and that's when we look it up in Chinese, we find what it means in Chinese, and we use it. We still have a digital classroom, meaning that the majority of my work, and again, the students are familiar with this from last year, is going to be on Schoology. Our homework, our updates, our resources, all that we will be using Schoology. One little bit different point is that in this classroom, because we're learning more focusing on language, is that we will be using, we will be writing more Chinese rather than using the iPad. Formative and summative assessments. So this is a little bit different than last year as well. The homework does account for 20%, but it is 3 to 4 times a week rather than 2 to 3 times. And that's just because the nature of the language, I want them to be reading, and I want them to be reading every day. The time period we have is a little bit longer, so I will give them class time to start those assignments. So while the number has gone up, the time to complete it has also enlarged. So I think that's a benefit to the students. Summative assessments are projects, chapter, vocab quizzes, and unit tests. So this account for 80% and looks a little similar to what they had last year in their Chinese class. Every quarter, they should at least have 4 summative assessments. Another thing I want to talk about is school policy and retakes and redos. So the school policy has pretty much stayed the same on retakes and redos. So students can always retake their tests, quizzes, or homework. The one thing that's slightly different from last year is that before a test or quiz can be retaken, students must have all of their missing assignments in. So in order for them to take that summative assessment again, I want their formative assessments to be all completed. It's a little bit different from last year. Now, late work is definitely the same as last year. All late work has to be in before 2-week period. So when I assign the assignment on Monday, 2 weeks from that date, the folder will be closed and they won't have an opportunity to bring that late work in. Also, the late work is graded at the end of that week. So if there was something assigned on Monday and it was due on Tuesday, and your student or your child rather handed in on Wednesday, they're going to have to wait to that following Monday to see that grade changed in their Schoology or Skyward. So that's pretty much the same as last year as well. So curriculum. One thing that is beneficial for this particular group of learners is that I had them last year. So I've had the whole summer to really reflect on some of their language specific individual and group language needs. And one thing that I came up with was this language focus of this year. So first, reading comprehension. I think that's one thing that these particular group of learners really struggled with last year. And that's one thing that I focused this summer on. I took 2 courses on reading comprehension and how to really improve their reading comprehension. And we will be doing that through close and guided reading this year. Beyond the textbook, which they've used last year, the Chinese language for secondary schools, we will have supplemental readings and guided readings. So this is something that I'm going to emphasize in our class, and I really am going to push my students to increase their reading ability in Chinese. The second language focus I want to talk about is diversifying their language. So I really want them to be able to use the language that they're reading in class and use it in our classroom. Last year, when we talk about things, our language was a little bit stunted where I would say, what do you guys, how do you feel about this? And what do you think about this situation, this particular event in history? And some of the language would be, it is good, or it is bad, or that person is bad. And I really want to diversify, that person is irrational or fantastic or horrible. Just diversify that language. The third thing I think is more important and is something that we want to focus on a little bit is cultural understanding. So how we want to do this is just by using more authentic material. So whether it be a newspaper article that we're going to look at, or Chinese sitcom, television video that we'll watch and analyze, beyond just having better language skills, but also having that cultural understanding is going to be good because we do have that 8th grade language trip coming up. So I think that's another thing to think about. Like I said, I worked with the same group of students last year, and I'm really excited to be able to work with them again this year because they are a great group of kids. So you worked with me again last year as well. So please feel free to reach out to me, ask me any questions, email me. I look forward to a great year. Thank you.